going
it's
on,
like
guys?
it's just
Twitter,
not
YouTube's
Adam,
coming.
Yeah, like almost every single week, Adam texts me like, "What are you doing?" 2 minutes before blockchain and booze, because the guests always come late, and he's like, "I might need you to come on full time," you know.
Exactly. All right, we're live on YouTube now as well. So, hey guys,
Live
welcome back
on
to
YouTube.
another episode of the Crypto Campfire podcast. Live this time, we got Alon Goren on the show, co-founder of Draper Goren Home, and of course, LA Blockchain Summit. But before we get into this, let's get the crypto news from Mitch and Paul, the crypto curator.
Oh my God!
You don't have it pulled up, do you?
I don't.
You don't have it pulled up. Okay.
Okay, I got it.
Let's put the spot on Alon real quick. Alon, what's the crypto news for today?
I just minted an NFT on Tezos 3 minutes before we went live. I was challenged by a dude named Alchemist. He told me that if I serenade him, he'll make me a piece of art. So I literally grabbed my guitar, I wrote a song, and I recorded it, and I posted it and minted it as an NFT in like less than 15 minutes.
What?
It's very clear if you watch it how much time and effort I put into it.
It's the thought that counts.
But now I'm gonna get some rad Alchemist art. So shout out to Alchemist because he does epic things. But I think Mitch has the latest news for real, and then we could dive into NFTs because the NFT professor is on the other end of this.
Right on. So
scary.
we get on our Telegram. Paul, the crypto curator, drops the daily news every day, like religiously. It's amazing, and the way his write-ups are absolutely phenomenal. Today he says, "Welcome to Thursday. Big news of the day is hedge fund behemoth Millennium Management dips its toes into Bitcoin. Aimstone highlights a model that predicts Bitcoin might go parabolic and reach 400,000 in May 2021. Nick and Matthew chat with Matthew, about how to compare Bitcoin with fiat. Lastly, Sylvan provides tips on how to stack sats. Dive down the rabbit hole and find out more. Guys, follow
the way the news
curator.
should always be presented. You know, the 5 o'clock news should be just some dude sitting in a fucking chair, drinking a beer, reading the news off of his cell phone for like 30 minutes.
What's wrong with that? You know, you get the gist of it. But follow the crypto curator and join our Telegram channel. Every day it's religious. It's there. Boom, boom, boom. He's on top of his game, and the guy's news is amazing. I don't think anybody is as up to speed in the crypto news as the crypto curator.
Not a chance.
Big shout out to Paul for that.
Yeah.
All right. So Alon, last time we actually had you on the podcast was a short live stream at CIS back in October 2019. And then of course you were episode, I think 12 maybe, of the Crypto Campfire, like way back.
Yeah.
Early summer of 2018, or was that summer of 2019?
Summer of 2019.
Summer of 2019. And man, the amount of stuff that's changed in the last year, like I don't know how we could cover this all in a year, but why don't we just start it off by like, what the hell is going on with you right now? How are you doing? How are things going? What's up?
Well, guys, first off, I remember doing one of your first podcasts and then talking to you guys like, I don't know, like a month. It felt like a month later, you know, and like crypto land time doesn't really go normal. And I remember talking to you guys and you're like, yeah, we're on like episode like 79. And I was like, what the hell just happened? Like, you do a podcast, you talk to people, you know, like 9 out of 10 of our friends that launches a podcast doesn't follow through. And so the podcast doesn't exist like 2 months later. And you guys were just like, boom, 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 consistent. And I think the biggest thing that's happened in crypto since then is what you guys have done for Bitcoin. That's why it's raining Bitcoin at my house right.
You're far too kind.
All thanks to you guys. 100% of everything. Bitcoin being at what is Bitcoin at today? Let me look at Lunar Crush.
58.7. I haven't checked recently.
58 and change.
Okay,
so
we'll go with
you
that.
guys brought about $50,000 in value for Bitcoin. So,
ooh, Mitch, I always told you we would do great things. Can we get that like in writing for Forbes and whatnot? Like,
you put out a press release and it'll be like, Alon Goren from Draper Goren Home says that the Crypto Campfire podcast brings at least $50,000 per Bitcoin in value. And rising.
Could you imagine the sponsorships that would come from that?
The problem is we don't have our own tokens, so we can't even technically moon from that hype, you know?
I know, right?
Jeez.
We can only moon in listeners. That's it.
Exactly.
And I
That's all
think
we want to moon in.
when people hear this podcast, I think when people hear us and they hear our show and how it's structured and all the great guests we have, they're hooked.
That's it. Dude,
it's just the guests, honestly. It's just that so many crazy people that come on with all
yeah.
crazy ideas and like crazy stories and like I don't know. I just find it amusing just sitting here.
So
talking
I
to
remember, Alon, we asked you a funny question, I think back then. There was something about Inspector Gadget comes to mind. Do you recall that at all?
No.
Those are things that you instantly block out of your mind as trauma experiences.
Right.
Let's see if we can figure that out.
I remember just having so much fun because like it was, dudes from Twitter, and then all of a sudden you get to hang with them online. I was like, whoa, these guys are awesome. This was so much fun. I hope they keep doing this. And then you guys kept doing it. Then you came to CIS.
That was awesome.
And that was awesome. And I got to kind of like sneak into like one episode for like 10 minutes while I was running around like a madman. And you guys were like, again, one of the only crew of all the media floor and all the people who were just consistently there. You were rocking it. You were recording podcast after podcast with all the people there. And you guys were just killing it. So
it was fun.
It was so much fun. I can't wait to get back to that. I can't wait to get back to that, but I also can't wait to hang with you guys at someone else's conference.
right, where you're not running around like a madman.
Exactly. Yeah, you could barely slow down. It was round in circles. I'm surprised that you were still standing by the end of the day, to be quite honest with you.
God. And then,
but, I mean, that kind of energy speaks to why exactly you are where you are right now and the things that you're doing right now. So let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you've got going on. You've got all kinds of new things coming in the NFT space. You're playing with Tezos. You're playing with all sorts of other stuff. What's exciting you right now with NFTs?
Yeah, it's so much fun. Everything is awesome. So I partly blame you for me going down the rabbit hole of NFTs also, because I think that I will tell you, I know for sure my first NFT I ever bought was like the Ken Bozak support badge. He like created some fundraising Ken Bozak badge where you could buy the NFT for $4.20, of course, or something like that. And so I bought it from him, and that was my first NFT ever. But then like not many of my buddies were making NFTs. It was like this cool thing that I saw going on in a few different projects, and you'd read about CryptoPunks or CryptoKitties, but I didn't really participate in those at the beginning. But then I remember you drew something that was really, really rad, and you like posted it online, and you were like, my first NFT or something like that. And I had to have it because I was like, it's your first one. I got to get the first one. and so I bought yours, and that was, I think, like, how long ago did you start doing that? Had to be.
That was either April or May of last year, 2019 or 2020. Yeah, that was, I posted it up. I wasn't even putting it up as an NFT. I just posted it for shits and giggles. And I had drawn it up and just for fun, my spare time. And then I put a little Bitcoin symbol in it. And I thought I'll post it on Twitter and see if anybody can find the Bitcoin symbol. And iHodl was like, dude, you should tokenize it. So I tokenized it. And I wasn't expecting, I didn't even post it for sale. And all of a sudden you're like, I sent you an offer on OpenSea. And I'm like, fucking hey, okay, sure. So yeah, I think we bought it for like $10. I was tickled shitless. I got $10 for something I drew. I was like, holy fuck, what is this? It was
so
great.
Cool though. Like I remember I was experimenting with NFTs, and I remember different folks were saying try Mintable, try Rarible, try different things. I don't know if Rarible was online back then, but I remember like a little bit before that then, because if that was about a year ago, a little bit before that, because it was pre-COVID. So that's how I measure time now. Pre-COVID, the last trip I went on was with Joseph. Actually, it might have been, it was the trip before that. So actually it was to Miami. It was the last BTC Miami that happened in real life. So whenever that was, I don't know, a year and a half ago or so, on the airplane, on my phone, I minted an NFT of a selfie of Joseph and I on the airplane. And we thought it was like the coolest thing that we were able to do it from our phone. And so like at that point, NFTs were just like an experiment, right? Like we weren't really thinking about it as anything other than just this cool thing. But you are part of what made it feel like a legit cool thing, right? Like, I think we lost Mitch. What happened to him?
Oh, Mitch.
His internet connection.
He'll
but-
reappear.
But it was just so it was so much fun. So now, cut to today, we're doing DGH and like we're growing. Like we launched our fund, which is awesome. So we have a little bit more budget to invest in companies. So like back in the day when we first met, when we started doing DGH stuff, it was Joseph and I straight up just like doing deals and investing off of our own balance sheet, like just from what we had. So if we had money, we could do a deal. If we didn't have money, we couldn't do a deal. And we were going through, crypto winter, so we didn't have a lot of money. So, since then we've now grown and we have our fund, which is awesome. And the last couple companies we've done actually were NFT companies. One is NFTs on Tezos. It's called Calamint. And we've been goofing around and experimenting with Tezos a bit, which is pretty fun. And seeing what makes it different than Ethereum and stuff like that. And so this one company does NFTs on Tezos. They're sort of like the Rarible for Tezos. And because gas fees are so damn expensive and make it so hard for us to transact on Ethereum, it's sort of seeing this cool little this uptick with Tezos, and we'll see how it goes in the future. But like, it has some cool things that make NFTs on it a little different, and it has differences in the platform that make it different than other networks. So we're making some bets there. And then the other NFT investment we made, just literally was the last announcement we made, was Superworld. Have you guys seen Superworld yet?
Yes.
So Mitch hasn't yet. So Superworld is rad. It's like a Google map of the world that you can see, and you can actually buy plots of land on the real world as NFTs.
So that's you guys. I was wondering, like, the Superworld Twitter followed me out of nowhere, and I started looking into it. I actually bought the Alcatraz morgue.
No way.
Yeah, because I was like, this is gonna be fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking that, and I don't know how deep I can get into it. When I learned that I could just put like a 3D file in there, I'm like, well, now maybe I can make a full 3D version. I just wanted to like put all sorts of trippy shit on the side of the morgue and like inside of it, and I don't even know what the possibilities are. But yeah, I'm excited for this.
So, like, they're gonna do all sorts of things where in the AR VR world, like anyone can add anything on top of Superworld, right? So I don't think you're gonna be able to but what Rish, the founder, was saying was that like you'll be able to like probably take a cut of profits of things that are done in the virtual world on your land. You'll be able to have certain rights to do things on your land that other people might not be able to. And like my immediate thought was one of the first. So I bought a few places. Like I bought the local hiking trails that I like to go to, like Lizard Rock is the name of one place, and like this other spot. And I was thinking, like, how cool would it be to like put a 3D AR version of myself like standing at the top of the rock, so if you could go on a hike to the top of the mountain and then you could take a selfie with me. And like,
yeah, that's a cool idea. I might have to do that with some of the areas around here.
But they're gonna let you actually create marketplaces, like NFT marketplaces on there. So like I got the lobby of the LA Convention Center where we have our conference every time. And I was thinking like we'll have an AR like NFT marketplace. So like the professor could have his art on one of the walls and you can see it like through your phone, and then somebody else will have their art there and somebody else will have their art there. And then if you buy it, we can be in control of that gallery, or we could get like a piece of the profits, or we could do it for charity, or like, I don't know, like it's so cool though. But like my first thought was like, I went to like, I'm gonna check out my grandma's house. I'm gonna check out like this spot. And like, it's really, really fun because like, it's the one thing, it's like the emotional connection that you don't have when you goof around with like other stuff in the metaverse. Like what's the other one I bought some real estate on? What's it called, that VR one?
Decentraland or Voxels or
Decentraland, yep.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's really neat. And it's like awesome to go into like these Decentraland like VR things that they have. But like you don't have that emotional connection like your grandma's house or like the Alcatraz morgue, right? Like all these cool, crazy things that you can do in the real world, and fine. So it's pretty cool. So that's the last thing we did in NFTs. But you know, it's such a fun, crazy space to goof around in. Like,
I love how excited and how just like you guys, you both, you're like little kids in a candy store, right?
This is
And
exciting
I'm
shit,
still
man.
trying to learn how to use my fucking smartphone, let alone how to, add a 3D file. Oh yeah, I got that. There's one right here. Let me put that in. Whatever. I just can't. I can't. So one day when I don't have to pound nails and drive screws for a living, and I can actually sit in front of this little box that I got that I'm still trying to figure out, one day I can learn, oh my God, so much more stuff. But I learned this is the coolest part about this is I learn about everything that's coming through you guys.
well,
Did I lose you?
No,
Okay.
I can hear you. So the thing that's crazy to me about NFTs is that like even like I don't know how to do the 3D things like the professor knows how to do, and I like he's way better with the art stuff and all that stuff. But like for me, it's just this idea of like it's like this extension of being a kid. And my older brothers would collect basketball and baseball cards. Then I got into comic books and comic book cards and magic cards and stuff and stuff like that. And like I've been seeing the last year. The coolest thing that happened this last year because of COVID was watching my kids interact with this stuff. Because like instead of them being at school every day, they're like looking over my shoulder going like, what the hell are you doing? Like you're playing games for a living. Like what are all these NFTs and all this craziness? And my son, Jordan from Meme. Did you remember you got the Meme community when they launched the pineapple thing and it like blew up?
Yeah.
So, and it's like since then become like a real company, which is mind blowing. But I've known Jordan from Meme for a long time because Total was one of our portfolio companies. He was like one of the lead designer guys there, and he was the head UX UI guy there at the very beginning. So I've like known him, and he like started messaging me saying, "Holy shit, this thing blew up." And then after I was done giving him shit for not owning any meme tokens because I didn't get to be a part of the airdrop, I started talking to him about what they were doing. And my son was like listening in one time, and he's like, "What's an airdrop? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what is that thing?" And I'm trying to explain to him. I'm like, "So the meme thing happened, and we got these NFTs from Meme, and this other dude called Pranksy, he decided to send everyone who had meme tokens this free NFT that he created. And so because I had this NFT, this other dude just sent me art for fun." And he's like, "I want to do that." So I literally like sat him in my lap. He was 8 years old at the time. We're sitting there like looking at stuff and trying to figure out like how the hell do you do an airdrop of NFTs? And we started goofing around with it. And then like once I figured out how to do it with him, I realized it was going to cost like $200. And I was like, shit, that's too much money. Like I'm not like for this experiment. And so I was trying to think about it, and I'm like looking at the ETH wallet, and it feels like magic internet money, but I wanted to like, I can't just give my kid $200. That's like being an irresponsible dad, just throwing money at him for like no real reason, just because he got an idea. So I told him, I was like, "Look, I'm going to give you this $200 worth of ETH, and we're going to do this airdrop to the meme community that you want to do. But after this, I'm not giving you any more ETH. So you have to figure out how to sell your NFTs or do something to make that money to pay for more airdrops, to do other things like that." And he was like, "Okay, like I'll just sell my NFTs. What if I do this?" Like, so he started experimenting, like thinking about ideas. He's like, "What if I make a membership card NFT? And if you buy my membership, then I'll give you an airdrop. And if you buy my membership, I can pay for an airdrop because I'll have the money to pay for an airdrop." And so like he started coming up with these schemes, and like he did the first airdrop of 100 of his membership token things. And since then he sold like 150 more. And he did all of these random auctions, and he did all of these random NFT things. And what's crazy is at the time, like a year ago, whatever that was, like ETH was like $200-300, whatever it was. And so he ended up accumulating like 5 ETH. But then ETH blew the fuck up. And so now he's looking at his wallet, and he's got like, I joked with him, but I was serious. I was like, "Dude, you realize when I was a teenager and I got my driver's license, I worked for like months as a driver to deliver auto parts at my dad's shop And I had to work months to make the same amount of money you did in like 3 days.
Right.
Yep.
you little shit, right? Like it's crazy. It's, but it also,
He's going to school pimping.
dude,
I
exactly. And he was trying to explain to his friends like over Zoom what an NFT was. But what's crazy is that like I watch him, like, so you're saying you watch us and it like seems crazy. I'm watching him, and to him, a Pokemon card, like in real life, or like this digital thing on the computer, no difference whatsoever to him.
Right.
The digital thing just as meaningful. Like to us, having the physical comic book is cool, right? Like still, but to the next generation, it's gonna be just like yeah, they do everything on the iPad. They never had a book, right? Like they do have books and stuff, but like they don't care that one is the physical version versus the digital version. So
yeah,
like,
they've got a lot more perspective of value in digital things, and it kind of comes down to that. You know, when you grow up with computers from a very early age, you have a trust in that technology to an extent, and you also have more knowledge on it. You know, all our kids are learning to program. You're getting the basic idea of coding and understanding how machines can make decisions, and they can't make their own decisions. They make decisions based on the instructions that they're given, et cetera, with small exceptions. And you know, if you have that, it's more easy for you to trust in something like blockchain, where it's a really complex technology that really does make sense and provides a huge advantage. But if you don't understand it, it seems like you're just trusting a computer. And if you didn't grow up with computers, if you're not, you know, if it's not something that was ingrained into you, or if you don't know how code works, you're probably not going to fully trust that technology, which is why it's pretty scary, and a lot of people don't want to jump into it. But it's, you know, it's getting there. Education is getting out there to make it easier, but yeah, it's a generational thing. Once we get to the kids that are kids now start growing up, that's when it really starts to take hold.
I wonder, like, because like what's crazy is they grew up with it. Like, I don't know if you saw that one thing. There was like a YouTube video from a while ago where they like put a magazine in front of like a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, and they were swiping, and they were like confused why they couldn't swipe the image.
That's crazy.
Right? Like, so they like completely, like, it's like a part of their brain because they grew up with it, right? But like, there's some age in between that we are, where like we had computer games, we had things, but you needed some technical ability to like make it work, right? Like you had to put in the disc or the CD, and you had to like run a command and like do something. But then there's like the kids that never actually even had to see the back end of it. Like they didn't have to type anything. They just like, and what happens when shit is like mostly voice commanded, or just like even more intuitive? Like my kids will like, when they hear me say, "Hey Siri" or something like that, they'll like try to scream some command before I can get out what I want to mess with me, right? Like, so that's like funny. It's gonna just be like this full part of their being. And that'll be really crazy, and it'll be interesting to see like what happens. I think they'll trust it way more, like you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. And then that becomes a lot easier to start seeing things like smart contract and legal contracts and that sort of thing. So, I mean, there's a lot of potential there, but it requires a lot of trust of code, more or less, trust of technology, I guess, and a lot more evolution in, what am I trying to say here? But like protective measures, I guess, to prevent things from going sideways. You know, as we start to evolve our protections, security, and that kind of thing, to make it a lot easier to implement these things without having a lot of negative side effects to come from them if there's errors and things like that. So, you know, smart contracts are really powerful, but they're also really dangerous, and you know, they're permanent. So, it's one of those huge evolutions that we're going to see. There's just a lot of steps to get there. So,
yeah, it's you know, I think it's pretty nuts, right? But like, that's the thing. Like somebody just posted somewhere, and they said, I don't know if they said Bitcoin or crypto, but in general, they said like crypto is the new America. Like, and then when they said that, I was like for a second didn't really think about it, and then I was like, well, think about like my parents were immigrants. They came to this country, and like America was this idea, right? Like America, they came here, they started a company, they did their own thing. My mom was a teacher, like my dad had his own businesses, and like from those businesses, like, you know, me and my brothers like were raised, and we all have great jobs now. We have a totally different opportunity than they had there. And like, if you think about crypto in that same way, and you separate like the country part and the borders from your like the way we're normally taught to think, then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, it is, right? Like we interact with people all over the world, And the great equalizer, the great opportunity will come not from them leaving their country and coming to our country, which could help depending on which country, but they can participate and we can participate and everyone can participate in the same shit no matter where they are in the world. Because of all of this stuff, like that's what's crazy. And so getting into what you're talking about with security and smart contracts, things like that, I think that if we start thinking that way, maybe we're 100 years away from this, but I think we're much closer to 10 years away from this, which is
I agree 100%.
Insurance being online. Like we're fucked in this country when it comes to insurance and very basic things. And we can argue all day long if it's the government's role to provide it or not, but the government, whether they provide it or not, have created a system that screws us all, right?
Yeah, yep. That's a fact. In every possible way.
Right?
Oh yeah, I'm ready, baby. I'm ready.
Yeah,
Let's have a
just say government
conversation.
and screwing us, and then you got Mitch fired.
but that's crazy. That's the truth. No matter what side of the political spectrum you're on.
Yep.
The average person, like, look, my mom was a teacher. My dad owned a shop that rebuilt auto parts and things like that. And like, only because my mom was a teacher were we taken care of. Like all the guys that worked at my dad's shop, like we had to jump through all these hoops every time I was a punk rocker growing up. Every time somebody got sick, we had to throw a benefit concert to make sure they got paid for cancer treatment. It's like, that's fucking insane, right? But all those things can be done like virtually now, right? Could we have virtual insurance? Could we have virtual governance in terms
of... Well, here's the thing. The crypto community and the NFT space, even just the entire digital community, let's just say that, right? The entire digital space, and especially crypto space, is doing nothing but building for the people. Period. They are building for the future of the people. If you think about it, what has cryptocurrency, what has this space done for the select group, for the special group that actually got involved and got into this space? What's happened for us has been tenfold what any country has ever done for their people. And this is on a global scale. This is people doing things for people that benefit the entire globe, not just a select little country, not just a select little state or city. That's amazing in itself. So when you talk about government, to me, this isn't just about replacing the dollar with a tangible and actual valuable asset. This is about changing the world when it comes to what they know and what is provided for them and by whom. That is what this is turning into. It's more than just a financial movement.
Yeah, well, if you look at it, at the surface level, it's easy though for people to go like, oh, DeFi, those are like ICOs from a few years ago, and ICOs, that's just like a money grab and this and that and whatever. But like, if you look at it from a higher level, from an industry perspective, just look at Bitcoin, or just look at Ethereum, or just look at Tezos, or any of these other blockchains.
Or Litecoin.
Be the purists, like the people who are here because they have to, not because they like,
right,
felt like that this is where they're going to make money, right? Because that's who, like, if you go back a few years, like there's cycles, right? And how many people did we see at like that CIS event in, actually the one you guys were at was later, but if we go back a little bit, 2017, I think the end of 2017 or beginning of 2018, we had a CIS event that was like over 5,000 people actually showed up like live. And like, if you looked at that, that was so hypey. So many people just trying to like thinking, oh, crypto is where I print money out of thin air. And one of the best things that happened for the industry as a whole, it sucked for most of us for the last few years, was the sort of crypto winter. But all those looky-loos, all those dickheads, all those a-holes just gone, right? All those people that were opportunistic gone. And all the diehards and the nerds amongst us who are here, like, not because like, hey, this is like an interesting and opportunity where there is that, but like there's interesting opportunities and places for people to make money everywhere. We could all get jobs places, right? But we're here because like we're drawn to it. And we almost like have to be here because like it's just that kind of calling. And those people are building real shit. And even the goofy stuff, like if you look at NFTs and you think like, oh, poo-poo.eth, my son made some random stupid NFTs and he made money, right? And imagine being the poo-poo.eth in another country. Imagine being the place that like had a record label that made a bunch of money off of them and didn't see a cent of it and ended up homeless at the end of their journey or whatever. Imagine if they had $9 out of every 10 that they actually sold instead of $1 out of every 10 that they sold.
Can you imagine?
It's mind-blowing. So they're flipping, like we're flipping every economy onto the people that actually create the value. Like we make the money for the bank, not the other way around.
Thank you.
Somehow they found a way to flip it and screw us and charge us. Like our money is how they make money. Like it doesn't make sense.
So this totally tips the scales, right? Everything we're involved in is tipping the scales. Everything that we're involved in is changing our dependency. It's changing our dependency from a government and turning it into a dependency of what's available to us, right? And for us, and that's the beauty of it. And you know, it's not just that people think, oh, well, the central bank of the United States, it's global. Every country has its own central banking issue, you know, banking industry. And there's so much to learn about it. And there's so much to see on how they keep twisting numbers and how they keep, you know, corrupting their own fiat systems to benefit themselves. And this does not allow that. This stops that. And that's what gives us the power, in my opinion, or the upper hand, if you will. And to have all of this digital tech, there are more people in this space that have probably larger brain power than most of anybody that works for any government agency in any part of the world. Think about it.
Oh,
it's crazy.
Dude, this space, like I've never like walked into any room of smart people when I was in college, and I like go into like I was at a school that happened to be close to like a bunch of biotech stuff. And I remember like walking into one classroom where they were talking, it was like it's supposed to be like a cross between business and biotech, and all the science nerds and people were in that class and they were so smart. But like even that compared to just walking in a room of math nerds talking about crypto, it's just like every time you feel like you're in this industry and you feel like you've got a grasp on, like I finally understand. You walk into one of those rooms and you're like, I don't know shit. Like I'm just gonna hang out here and try to absorb like one portion of
it. Yep. Exactly. And it's just so amazing to be a part of it all, right? And to know so many people that are building in this space, and seeing these things be created on a daily basis. It's just astounding, just absolutely astounding.
It is, and it's global. And what's crazy is like talking about governments and things like that. Something I've been talking to a bunch of people about lately, because what you don't like, what people don't realize, like when people like do have funds and things like that, we're kind of like the startup of funds. But like when people have funds, like the people who run funds actually are pitching all the time, and they're trying to find companies to invest in things like that, but they're also pitching to investors all the time, right? Like they have to raise money from people that are, you know, whatever. And so every time when I've talked to like investors, like people who've invested in us or people that I'm trying to like sort of plant seeds with for the future, like I start talking to them and they ask me about, they are looking at crypto from a different perspective. And so many of them are like asking about the government, regulation, and this and that. And like, I don't know, you guys grew up in the United States. My whole life, I've been hearing people like, depending on what politician is running and this, I'm moving to Canada, I'm moving here, like, the regulation, the this, that. Nobody does shit ever. Like, it's all talk, right?
Right.
But like in crypto, I literally meet every week multiple Americans, like straight up people who were born and raised in the United States, just like us, who you talk to, and then you're like, wait, where are you? Because you see like the sun is setting, but it's like the morning here. And I'm like asking them questions, like, wait, where are you? And I expect them to say somewhere in the United States, but because of the whatever. And then they go, oh no, I'm in Singapore. Oh no, I'm in Thailand. I'm in Malta. I'm in Switzerland. I'm here. And it's the first time, and I go, oh, why? Your family there? You know, like, oh, COVID, you went to go stay with the grandma? Like, what are you doing there? And they're like, no, I just came here because I don't want to launch my company in the United States. And like, they're not just like doing the thing where they create a Swiss foundation and like hire a person there and pretend like they're there. They're moving to that country because this country's rules suck. Like,
Yeah.
but like, I've never had anybody like at all ever, actually do it, right? Like in this space, people are doing it because again, those borders are less and less meaningful every single day.
And there's more and more people that have had opportunities fall into their laps because they took a chance on something back in the beginning that's afforded them the freedoms to be able to do those things, right? And I think, there's a good percentage of us that have been in this space for multiple reasons. And I think the primary reason everybody comes into this space, other than say a developer of sorts, is to try and they see what's happening, and they see this in this deflationary currency that's out there called Bitcoin, right? And they realize the real value of it, and the being able to control your own money. And so I think that's what sparked a lot of the movement towards this space. But then once you get here, if you really dig into it and stop looking just at the charts and start looking at the space as a whole, it does nothing but suck you in like a rabbit hole, like the NFT rabbit hole. That's the big rabbit hole of today, but it's cool, right? And it's bringing in a lot of mainstream stuff. So, the more I get to learn about it, and one of these days we're going to actually do my NFT, and that is going to like blow me away. So I still have to do my part of the deal and get that taken care of. But I think that's really going to help cement and spark my journey into the NFT space. Right now, I'm just in awe, and I'm observing all of my friends and the professor and everybody else that's drawn into this, because they have the mind power to grasp it like that, and they're just doing it, right?
I think it's like a collector's mindset too. Like you have to be that like that was into collecting like comic books or magic cards or baseball cards or something like that. And then it's even another level because you have to be able to like sort of suspend that like idea, like that we all know it like rationally, like, oh, we understand crypto, so we get the the scarcity, and we understand that it's like a one of one and whatever. But it's still, even for us, like it takes a moment to get like like I told you, I experimented with it for like a year, and I had that Ken Bozak NFT I bought and like whatever before I actually was like minting NFTs and goofing around and getting my son on board. COVID really turned it around and made it like a bigger thing, and I would talk to Joseph, my partner, and he like got the concept and understood the idea, but still he's not a collector himself. So it's like not that exciting for him. He got a little bit excited when he could like buy his ENS domain, and that's an NFT, but nobody really thinks of those as an NFT. Like the technology is an NFT, but like nobody goes like, ooh, that cool ENS domain, that's an RC 721 or whatever it is, but it's you have to still have that kind of nerdy collector brain or something, that like the thing that ties you in. For some people, like they got sucked in by the sorry, I dropped something. Got sucked in by those games, like the collectible card games, and stuff like that. And I think some people are seeing things like Super World, and that's sucking them in. But like,
right,
I think because like how many of us too, like collecting art, like that's not a thing normal people really do. That's like a rich person. Right? Like,
well, it's a rich person's luxury, right?
Yeah, like we had art like on the walls at home, but it all had like some emotional connection. Like, oh, that guy worked for my parents at their restaurant in Boston and made beautiful art and gave them something. Or my mom's uncle is an artist, and every time my mom would visit Israel, she would come back with a canvas of some beautiful flowers or whatever and put it on the wall at home. Like, never went like to an art gallery to like buy, like maybe we walked through an art gallery because we were like somewhere and there was an art gallery, but we never went like, oh, I think I'm gonna buy that $300 painting on the wall, that $1,000 painting on the wall. Like, but with NFTs, it's like it started small and now I've gotten even bigger. And now I'm realizing I probably bought NFTs for more money than I've ever bought an actual piece of like art in real life for.
Yeah.
Right. And even now I'm saying actual piece of art as if the NFT isn't actually art, but it is to me, but like saying it out loud, it's still, so there's still a ways to go, like emotionally, right? Like,
Sure.
kind
Kind of like for that magic internet money.
Yeah, exactly. But I've had this conversation too. Like, do you think we'd spend as much money on NFTs if I had to connect it to like my Bank of America or Wells Fargo? Or
Hell no. Well, when you think that you bought an ETH back in the day for $89 or $90 or $120, right? So all these people that were able to really take advantage of those prices back in the day and even lower, that have, 100, you're like, oh, what's a quarter of an ETH? Yeah, I'll pay a quarter ETH for that.
Imagine seeing 0.5 ETH next to something or seeing $1,000 next to something. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
0.5 ETH seems like fucking chump change.
Right.
$1,000 is like, oh hell no, I don't have. What are you talking about? I don't have $1,000.
If you want to cry, I don't know if you've ever looked at this website, but look at is it fees?
Yeah, fees.wtf. Oh, dude, it's so bad.
Oh my god, it's so painful to look at.
I'm looking at mine right now, and I haven't looked in a while, so this is
what is it?
It's called fees.wtf. You connect your MetaMask wallet, and then it shows you how many ETH you've paid in fees, and today's price, how much that's worth. And
I'm currently at 11.938 ETH.
Oh my god!
Right now, that's $25,008.21 in gas fees. Luckily,
it's time for wax.
We're almost at
Sorry.
11.96.
What's that?
I'm at 11.96.
Oh, nice. I'm like right behind you. I'm gonna have to go spend a bunch more money on gas. Let's go mint some shit on Foundation.
Here's the what's crazy is that I think of that like how much. Okay, that's $25,000. That's fucking insane. But how much ETH do I have now as a result of that, or random airdrops, things like that? And then how much did I spend on school? Because the last year in crypto, I would pay 10 times whatever I paid for school. I don't even know how much I paid for school, probably more than 25 grand. And so if you think about it that way, I try to think about it that way when it's hard to be positive sometimes when you see shit like that. But when you think about it that way, it's not quite as crazy. Hold on, I want to look at the poo-poo.eth wallet, see how much my son has spent.
There we go. I'm gonna say I do have a poo-poo.eth membership card since the very beginning, so I've enjoyed all my airdrops.
At the beginning, I bought some off of him to send some of our friends and stuff. Mitch, if you have a public ETH wallet, I probably sent you one too, but I don't remember if you had a public ETH wallet at the time.
I don't know that I did.
All right.
I didn't have a
Mitch.eth or something cool like that.
I never. No.
We'll have to get you set up on that.
Yeah.
I hope that's not already taken. Maybe I should go reserve it and just bump the price by 30, 40. Yeah. Everybody listening right now is actively registering Mitch.eth.
Right. God.
DNS domains.
That's wrong.
Yeah. Dude, my son has spent 3.3 ETH on gas to do all of his airdrops and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy, but he has a wallet now with 5 ETH in it. All of that was a result, right?
Yep.
But my biggest problem with that is like young, like artists, and I don't mean young artists like my son, 9-year-olds. I mean like artists that are first getting into the space. That's like too big of a hurdle. So like I think OpenSea has fixed that. I think Mintable, you can use Zill to do it now too. But like being totally self-serving, you could check Calamint also on Tezos. If you're an artist that wants it, I'll send you a Tez. A Tez is like $5. You can mint to like 5,000 NFTs with $5 on Tezos.
Really?
It's literally like a fraction of a penny to mint an NFT on Tezos. So like to look at this, it pisses you off even more now, right?
Right. Yeah, it always makes me wonder what, if ETH 2.0 2.0 is going to be more or less successful than some of these other solutions on different blockchains, or even layer 2 solutions on top of, what the ETH we have now. So
wow, I really hate
lot
to
to be
pump
seen.
Tezos like this, but imagine, why isn't Tezos like at least the value of ETH at this point?
Well, they just, so for the first time, and I've had these conversations because like we actually made like our first investment on a company on Tezos last year, but like we were watching it from the sidelines. And what's crazy is that, like, talk about the brainiac smart people, like some of the smartest people I've ever met are building on Tezos, but they're almost like too thoughtful. Like none of them are like YOLO, like I'm just gonna launch something that's kind of shitty and test the waters and figure it out the way people have done on Ethereum and stuff. And I think that's gotten in their way. But now, literally in the last few weeks, like the 2 DEXs have launched on Tezos, 2 NFT marketplaces have launched on Tezos, and their numbers are like skyrocketing because of the gas fees and things like that. So similar to layer 2s. I think they have an uphill battle if they're trying to compete with Ethereum, because Ethereum has thousands of projects, thousands of developers. Like I can go on to GitHub and find all the puzzle pieces I need to launch almost anything on Tezos, and they need to get to that point. But I think that that's the problem with ETH 2.0 and ETH, is that things are too slow to evolve. And so people are going to other networks. It's why Polkadot is blowing up with all these projects and stuff like that. And it's why all these layer 2s. But what'll be interesting is, like, will those layer 2s keep their power once ETH 2.0 launches, or will like it go back? Like, will everyone just abandon Matic or whatever if ETH has better fees? Or who really knows, but I think there's a world. Oh, what are you showing?
I'm trying to show this. I don't know if it's going to show up. The Tezos chart,
This is
just in the
key.
last 5 minutes, has spiked. Like it went from it went to 632 from like 618. Sorry.
Well, yeah.
I just had to throw that out there. I was like, let me see where Tezos.
That's because Pauly P's out there listening, and he heard Tez, and he
Pauly
just
bought
just
a million Tezos.
It just went up like crazy, like the last few days actually. So it's been crazy. Like if you look, the 1 week change is 23% in the last week. I'm looking at Lunar Crush now. But what's crazy is I'm a nerd for Lunar Crush. I'm conflicted.
I love Lunar Crush.
So what's crazy is, so looking at something like Tezos, the social volume is up 20%, but the social contributors is up 26%. That means there's 26% more people talking about Tezos. That's like my favorite metric, is they have all the engagement, all the different things, but to see new blood in the system, that to me means like, oh shit, something's going on here. Like more people are talking about it. And that's crazy. It also is because they hit like all-time highs this week and stuff. So like obviously people are gonna go nuts and talk about it.
There's a lot to be said about the data analysis, and especially when you talk about fundamental analysis, FA to me is probably the most important observation that you can have in any market, because that's where the excitement's at, right? That's where the people are talking about things. Fundamental analysis is what people think about a project, not what it's actually doing. And I think that does a lot for, in my opinion.
So when I first met the dudes at Lunar Crush, like their pitch to me was like, hey, we're working on this project. We're all sort of have full-time jobs, but we're getting there. But like what made me fall in love was they're like, crypto is like a public company in terms of like having something that's public and out there and anybody can buy and trade, except for 24/7. There's all this extra data. There's all this stuff. They're like, but there's no quarterly earnings report. There's no CEO of the company. There's like, it's a community, right? And without community, there's no crypto. And so like, they're like, how do we judge what's a good investment opportunity if we can't, if we don't have the earnings report, if I can't like see Mitch, the CEO of Bitcoin, tell me, what's going on with Bitcoin. I don't know. Did you guys see, if anybody showed this on your feed a few days ago, the French regulators had a hearing about Bitcoin, and one of the top regulators straight up was like, well, so who's in charge of Bitcoin and how many shareholders do we have? And it was like, what? Like this is the hearing from the top regulator in France, and they still didn't get like the.
They don't understand what it is. Okay, so every regulator is just going tax. How can we tax?
They can't possibly understand the concept of a decentralized piece of software, right? They just can't understand what it means that more than one set of like quote unquote servers is running the. I mean, like, it doesn't make sense. Traditionally, it's been there's a company that buys machines or rents machines, and they put their software on it, or they rent software or buy software on another party, and it's just a place. There's a central thing that they can shut down. There's a central entity they can tax. There's a central thing, you know. It just doesn't make sense.
Like, what,
Mr. President, tell them to stop printing Bitcoin, please.
Just turn it off.
You can't do it.
Turn it off, dude.
What do you mean it's deflationary?
But like, what do we expect? Like, I mean, I keep going down this rabbit hole, and then I like people message me. Like, I've got the local journalists and stuff from my area always hitting me up about this stuff.
Nice.
And Brad Sherman, our favorite congressperson, is in the district like 20 minutes away from me in like the area.
Oh, nice.
And so like I've been very vocal about him being an idiot. And so like, but like, what do we expect? The dude who is, well, we can cut to today with Janet Yellen being in charge, which makes no sense. But like the dude who is the chairperson of the Investor Protections Committee has a majority of his funds that pay for his campaigns coming from financial service industry. So it's like the people he's in charge of protecting us from are the people who are paying for him to be our politician.
How does that work?
That's basically how it works. So it's like, who pays the most fines? Who actually does the most damage? Like, who gets in trouble the most? It's the large financial.
Whoever didn't pay that night for the beer. Christ, sorry.
Not wrong.
It's absolutely nuts, right? Like, so. But going back to what we were saying is exactly what you were talking about with Lunar Crush and actually seeing what people are talking about. But the toughest challenge nowadays is that there's just too much noise, right? Like, how do we know what's spam? How do we know what's real? Like, you can look at Bitcoin right now and see, you know, how many news articles or something are written about Bitcoin, how many people are talking about it on Twitter, but how do you know how many of those people are bots or spam and what's going on? And what's crazy is that if you look at every single product that's not Lunar Crush that I've ever found out there, their numbers are like minuscule compared to Lunar Crush's numbers. They only have maybe like 100 tokens if they have a lot of tokens, and Lunar Crush has like 2,000 tokens. And then like the amount of noise is just off the charts. So they have less data, but somehow have more noise. Like, it makes no sense. So like, that's why how I fell in love with what they do. Like they drill it down into like such, like, you can see that the sentiment, you can see like bullish sentiment versus bearish sentiment and all that shit, but you actually know if the people are real. You actually know how many new people are there versus yesterday versus a month ago versus a year ago. And shit like that is, I think, crazy important if you're a trader. But I'm a terrible trader. So, you know, that's why another reason why I have Lunar Crush around, because I can call them and be like, dudes, I don't understand what's going on. What should I be doing right now?
And you can also have epic tweet threads with them too.
Yeah, they're pretty. I've started sparing them since they've launched the Lunar Crush bot. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I do this all the time. Is you can tweet at the Lunar Crush bot and be like, what's up with Bitcoin in the last day? What's up with Bitcoin in the last 3 months? What's up with Bitcoin this year? And it'll actually, the bot will respond to you with all of the metrics, like up to the moment, like within 2 seconds. And so it'll be like, you know, like, here, I'll go, here, I'll tweet right now, and I'll tweet at you guys. I'll be like, yo, Lunar Crush bot. Yo, Lunar Crush bot, bro bot, tell crypto, what do you want to, what token do you want to hear about?
Let's hear about Rarible. Can we get ERC20s on it?
No, Litecoin.
No,
Litecoin about here, LTC, right? I'm tweeting this at you guys right now, and I just hit send, and now I'm clicking on that tweet, hit refresh, and boom, I got a response from, I got a notification. Hold on. Oh, that's a different notification.
Yeah, it's
Man, Lunar Crush Bots, my connection is kind of crappy right now. Hold on.
It's pretty sweet.
Oh, it already responded, 12
Yeah.
seconds. Litecoin 1 week activity, price 228, that's plus 10.85%. The Galaxy score 65 out of 100. Outrank 130 out of 2000. 34,000 social mentions this week, 255 separate contributors, and blah, 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 way more stuff.
Awesome.
So it's just epic, right? Like, so, and then the cool graphic and everything. So you guys
everybody's got to love a cool graphic.
Mitch, you're muted.
So you just type in @Lunar Crush Bot?
Yeah. And
wow.
I think you have to be following Lunar Crush Bot or something.
Well, yeah, of course we are.
so you just say, hey, Lunar Crush Bot, tell me about, BTC, and boom, it'll respond to you. But if you give it like different commands, like you can say, give me the Bitcoin details for the last 30 days, or give me the social dominance for this, or whatever. Like you can say all sorts of things.
How many negative responses has Peter Schiff received in the last 24 hours?
What's funny is that, they don't have that kind of stuff yet, but if we ask them, they'll add shit like that. They added something. I don't know how to call it off the top of my head. I'll look it up. But you can say like, how are we doing on Tim Draper's Bitcoin prediction? And it'll be like, we're 412 days away from Tim's prediction of 250K Bitcoin. We're 60% of the way there. There's this, like, and it does shit like that, which is really, really cool. You can, there's all sorts of cool stuff like that. But like, just for me, it's just like, what happened today to Bitcoin, or give me the 3 month on Bitcoin, and it'll just respond to the tweet, boom. Or like, I'll reply and annoy people sometimes because they'll post something about Bitcoin, and in their comments, I'll say like, hey, Lunar Crush Bot, tell them about Bitcoin. And then whatever, but it's really, really cool. And that's one of my favorite things. By the way, if we're going to be shilling Lunar Crush, if you go sign up on Lunar Crush, because you get set alerts now where my bro, the robot, in my phone, he's Brobot, where Brobot will text you alerts, and I get alerts from it, like literally, like here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the phone, but like, I literally, a thing popped up on my screen, and I tried to tap my own screen that's not a touch screen. But like, tap to load preview. So like your Lunar Crush alert, it doesn't show up because of this craziness. But I'll get Lunar Crush alerts to my phone, and it'll say, your Lunar Crush alert. If Bitcoin's Galaxy score goes up 10 points in the previous hour, alert me. And it'll shoot me text and say, the Galaxy went up 20 points in the last hour. Bitcoin's current price is $57,000, like, and then it'll, there's all sorts of other alerts I have. If Ethereum social volume goes up 50% from the previous hour, alert me. And what's crazy is if you set these alerts on Lunar Crush, it'll back test the data, and it'll be like, if you bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin every time this happened the last year, you'd have this much Bitcoin. And it'll tell you if this alert is actually, at least in the past, been profitable, which is pretty cool. I'm not an active trader. I just buy more and more and more and then just hold. So, right. But for people who are active traders, this is like the coolest thing ever. You get texts, you get Telegram alerts, you get alerts just on Lunar Crush. It's really radical. You should check it out.
There's always been that saying, as soon as everybody's excited about crypto is the time or about Bitcoin is the time to sell, as soon as, but I don't know that that's holding true anymore. I really don't, because that used to be the buzz amongst traders.
Well, that's the thing is there's different metrics, and what's crazy is that when you heard about it before, you would hear about it like on CoinDesk, right? And you would hear about the data, but the amount of time it takes CoinDesk to report the data that we get instantly in an alert from the Crush, at best, they're the fastest reporters ever, and their bosses approve the post and the images on the post and all that stuff.
A week,
20 minutes, half an hour, that would be like the fastest you get it. And in half an hour, the pump is already over, right? Like, so you have to, like, if you're a trader that's like high frequency and whatever, or the news is out there already. So like the fact that like, and then what's also crazy is like John from Lunar Crush was like, here's something to watch. Watch when the dominance or the outrank for Tether or USDC flies up a bunch of numbers. It basically means everyone's swapping from their tokens to USDC. It means shit's about to crash. And it's like, and I started setting alerts for that. I don't actively trade, but every time that's happened, I literally see it and go, holy crap. I watch in real, I get a text and then I go onto like, you know, Coin Market Cap or Lunar Crush or CoinGecko or whatever, and I watch in real time. And within like a minute or two or three, I just see it just all come down, right?
Wow.
And then you see it flip, and everything starts coming up, and you get the text. It's so crazy. Like one of the coolest websites.
A fortune teller in your pocket.
If you
You've got a fortune teller in your pocket.
One of my favorite websites to like just zonk out on is a Fiat Leak. I don't know if you guys ever look at that. It's just a world. It's just a world map, and you see where people are buying Bitcoin. So it's just like the price changing in real time and flipping around. Then you just see like the spider web of Bitcoin flying across the earth, and it's fun to watch. But like,
yeah, that's awesome.
I watch that sometimes, and then I'll get the Lunar Crush alert, and then I'll look at that and just watch the price just in real time go down, and then I'll get an alert and I'll watch the price in real time go up. It's really radical.
That's cool.
Again,
I'm definitely gonna get that set up.
Trading knows scary shit. Like if you,
I can't do it.
I'm not a trader either.
No, I don't have steel balls yet. I just can't. I can't do it. My gut just.
I did all my trading at the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018, so you can just imagine how well that went for me.
Well, you know, I think we've all done well holding and accumulating the shit we've held for a few years, right? So you know.
Yep, as long as you held on to it, you're good to go.
Yeah, it's when you tried to trade that just no.
Yeah, that's the problem. No. Like you get like one good trade, you'd make like $200, and then you'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna do it again," and then lose like $205. It's like
or lose 1,000, whatever.
Yeah. No, we never do that.
That's the crazy thing. And then some of our friends who do the leverage trades and all that. That's just, and to me, it's like I can bet on people, and I feel like I got a good vibes on things like that, and I can look at code and tech and understand what's going on, and I could go like, I know this shit's going to be a big deal 10 years from now. For me, that I can do that all day long. But from like the moment to the moment and the irrational stuff, because like so much of it is just like because of a news article or because of this thing or because of something, because some stupid politician went up and said something, right? Like you can't control that, and I'm not gonna.
You know, it's funny. My dad used to trade. He was in the stocks, right? In the stocks and in the stock market. And he used to trade stock all the time. And, you know, he prided himself, you know, he was able to sell a lot at the right point and buy at the right point, stuff like that. Well, I get him into cryptos in January, and he's just like mind blown. I mean, the first dip, it wasn't even a dip. It was just a little glitch, right? Just a little pullback. He flipped out. Oh my God, my phone's blowing up. He's like, why didn't we sell? Blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm like, relax. This ain't nothing. Just hold tight, right? And it took me probably a month and a half to get him to realize that this is nothing like traditional markets, nothing. And you just can't look at it like that. You got to sit back. Let's say I'm in this for the long haul, and whatever happens in the short term, who cares?
Maybe there's people like I've said this in the past. Like there's probably people like those hedge fund traders and certain people like some of our friends that like, if I was going to do that strategy, I'd much rather give them my $100 to do it with than to do it myself, because like it's too emotional and weird, like betting with money that you need like every day, right? And then like, you know, you'll be online late at night, and it's also 24/7 markets, and you'll read a tweet like, and the professor said something about Zilliqa, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna buy that shit. And then the next morning you wake up, you're a genius. By the time you drive somewhere that afternoon, you're an idiot. And then by the time you come home the next day, you're a genius again. But if you
right.
one of those points, you lost, right? Like
millionaire poverty. You watch this market.
You can't do that with money you need to live off of, right? Like
no, you can't.
But it's too easy to also like I gave my sister-in-law and her boyfriend were wanting to get into the space a few months ago, and they asked me if they should buy Bitcoin with their credit card, and I said absolutely not. And it's like one of the biggest regrets I have because they would have done so well. but it's a terrible idea, right? But like I also timing, like, you know, they're probably mad at me. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess if you can, okay, so a lot of people use their credit cards differently, right? If you don't have the cash right now, but you know that you're going to pay that off in a short period of time, then credit card might not, because people pay their bills with credit cards. But I guess it all depends. But to borrow money to invest is not a good idea. It just really isn't.
It's not. It's, you know, but the problem with markets like this is there's example of the most irresponsible people becoming wealthy.
Yes. I mortgaged my house and put it all on Bitcoin. You know, took a home equity loan and put it all on Bitcoin. It's
and we all saw tweets of people who were cursing out all the crypto influencers on Twitter like 3 years ago because they did the same thing at the all-time high, right?
Right.
And so, you know, and you never know when that.
And they didn't hold through the bear market.
No. Probably not. If you're mortgaging your house to buy Bitcoin, you're probably not thinking that long term.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's just not your personality.
No, exactly.
Hey guys, I've got to sneak off soon.
Sounds good. Well, we got one last important question for you. We'll jump this out here and let you roll. If you could
we have one important question for you. Go ahead.
If you could turn any body part into a hidden storage compartment, which would it be and what would you store?
I feel like this is a rabbit hole for some very inappropriate things. So I'm gonna okay. That's the weirdest question ever. I don't know. Like, I'd say it has to be hidden, right? Like, it has to be like a secret compartment. So part of me thinks it's got to be like the bottom of my foot or something. So then, like, you're wearing socks, then you're wearing shoes, and your clothes. So it's like, who's ever going to figure that out? Because even if you're like at the airport, you take off your shoes, still wearing your socks to walk through.
Right.
Good, right?
That's definitely the best. That's the place for sure.
Oh yeah, give the heel a double tap. Watch this. Give the heel a double tap. It opens up. I love it.
A part of me also thinks of like people that have prosthetic limbs or something like that. Like, what kind of things you would do to just screw around and mess with your family and friends, but then also what kind of shenanigans. Like, imagine if you were that person, but like a 17-year-old again. Like, what kind of crazy shit would you have hid in your leg or like just done, right? Like, I'm just thinking of what a crazy idiot I was back then. Like, what kind of nutty things would I have done?
Oh man, there's so many options, so many opportunities. Yeah, you'll have to think about this one, and maybe we'll get into it deeper.
Oh my God, yeah, we definitely got to get into it deeper next time. Alon, thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was a blast. We missed you so much, and we get to see everything that's going on Twitter. So thank you so much again for joining us tonight,
guys.
Oh yeah, man, this was a good time.
Thank you for having me. Congratulations on such a kick-ass podcast, and it going for now over 2 years.
Yeah,
May 5th, a year and a half, something like that.
May 5th.
Oh yeah, May is 2. Yeah, it's almost 2 years. Jesus.
2 years.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
May 5th.
2 years.
Oh,
Holy
yeah.
crap! You have to have like a celebration on like something. Dude, you know what you should do? Like a reunion kind of thing, and make it like either one crazy giant Zoom meeting, or use I'll donate the platform we use for blockchain and booze every week, or like one of those, because then you can jump from table to table, and you should have like just all guests in community, and then you guys jump from table to table and like
talk to everyone. That would be cool.
That'd be sweet. I like that. Let's do that.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about this soon. And
yes, definitely.
It'll be so much fun.
Guys, thank you for tuning in.
For having me.
If it wasn't for you guys in the audience, we wouldn't have an audience. So thank you so much for tuning in, and spread this out on Twitter. Look forward to more interactions with Alon and everybody else. Alon, have yourself a great night, sir. Thank you so much.
Good night, guys.
Take it easy.
Peace.
Thank you.